I don't know what to say. And I wanted to do this video because I got this, which is the Detroit Reverse Retro. But I wanted to do this video to kind of showcase a thing or two about perception or whatever. I like 4 teams: Washington Capitals, Vancouver Canucks, the Arizona Coyotes, and Detroit. This jersey, well, this logo, this crest. When you see this, you think of Gordie Howe, Terry Sawchuk, Ted Lindsay, Steve Yzerman, Nicholas Lindstrom, Chris Chelios, McCarty. You think of 97. You think of 98. Think of 02. You think of 08. You think of the Colorado rivalry. You think of the rivalry with original 6 teams. You think of the dark times in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and now. And whenever I bring up I'm a fan of Detroit, I often get people who say, oh, well, they're not very good this year. It's not that I'm a fan of them because they're bad. It's not that I am a fan of them because of the fact that Detroit is looking what has the past. Those are 2 big things. I started liking Detroit mostly because of one player, and that was Mike Green. Bear in mind, Washington was my number 1, so when he went to Detroit... Now, when you're a young hockey fan, you don't think too much of the past. You think of the then and now. So, if I had not explored the options that I did, and the amount of teams, and the history, and the rules, and everything during that off season, if I had not done that, I would not be where I am currently. Hockey has become a part of my life in a lot of ways that you would not think. I have a closet, and I have a lot of jerseys. That's not something because this is a minor hobby. This is huge. I have tried to upload a few times on here with hockey-related videos, but I don't really have a lot that a lot of other YouTube channels do. I don't have a whiteboard with magnets galore that I can use like the hockey guy. I don't have access to footage and the recording software and everything that, say, Urinating Tree has. I don't have the fan base, like, post to post. I don't have, like, what's his name? It's hockey something. He was on post to post. He's a Pittsburgh fan. I don't have the TV and the access to do that like he does. I have my iPhone leaning up against my TV screen and my room behind me that I use. And I have a collection of jerseys. I have a whiteboard down at my feet that I've used a few times, but I've had trouble because I don't have a stand, so I'm holding it. So I'm recording it in front, and I'm holding the whiteboard and leaning over and pointing. I'm not trying to say that other channels have it better than me, and I'm jealous. I'm just simply saying that motivation for me is kind of not really there with uploading, and I'm starting to kind of get into the swing of things, but yeah. So, it was the 2018 Stanley Cup Finals. And I was watching as a Washington fan as Washington knocked out Columbus, knocked out Pittsburgh, knocked out Tampa Bay, and then knocked out Vegas. 6, 6, 7, 5. Those were the amount of games that it took. And while I was watching that, I spent that off season because I decided this is big, but how can I get into it? How can I delve into this? So what I did was I studied the rules. I studied history. I studied I looked barely at the Capitals free agent signings. I spent that whole off season watching videos from the Hockey Guy, Post to Post, and a few other hockey channels, and looking up rules, looking up former players and stats, and trying to get a picture as to what was happening and how it worked. And to me, that kind of helped me along the way. So during the 2018-19 season, as I was watching, whenever hockey wasn't on, I was watching videos, learning about things, the ins and outs, and all that sort of goodies. So in that off season, I focused on free agent signings and how teams were faring, how teams would do. Excited for certain teams next future. During October of that year, I started to like multiple teams. And the first team I ever liked, other than Washington, was Arizona. And I liked Arizona mostly because, to me, their jerseys I thought were nice. And to those who are wondering, you know exactly which jersey I'm referring to. I've worn it before, I believe. It's the Kachina. Yep, the Kachina. This is a nice jersey. That jersey made me like Arizona. And then I started following. I started liking Clayton Keller, Darcy Kemper, Ekman Larson. I started to like players like Hjalmarsson and Lawson Krause, the Sheriff. That was second. Third, Detroit. Detroit has become one of my favorite teams. And I don't have any specific ranking that I would say, other than that I like the teams. I follow the teams, and I really don't have any sort of, way that I would rank them. Like, oh, well, duh. Vancouver's at the bottom, then Detroit, then Arizona. It kind of sort of fluctuates. Sometimes I like Detroit more than I like Washington. So, there's just my four favorites, and sometimes they climb over each other. I think the only team that really hasn't taken my peak is probably Vancouver. But even then, whatever. It's mostly Arizona, Detroit, and Washington. Those are the three. And Vancouver is in that mix as well. But I started to like them because of Mike Green. And then that led me to look, and I watched some of their games. And after watching some of their games, I liked... After watching some of their games, I liked Tyler Bertuzzi. See, I'll get those mixed up. Jonathan Bernier, Jimmy Howard, Green, obviously, Daly, Justin Abdelkader, I know, throwing that out there. But, like most things, when I got into the team, looking at their history was kind of a major thing for me. When I initially got into hockey, I got into liking the Caps. So I looked at the history of the Caps, their 8-win season. When I got into Arizona, I looked into their history. What was it like for them during the 90s, when they were the Jets and they moved? How were things with them. Then when I liked Vancouver, I looked at their history. I looked at the 82 run that they had, 94, early 90s when they were actually good, 2010, 2011 when they were back-to-back winners of the President's Trophy. And then also when I got into Detroit, I looked at their history. Gordie Howe, Terry Sawchuk, Steve Yzerman, all those players. And what I think that did was it helped me, and it might just be me specifically, but it helped me learn that certain things can be valued, and there's no use in beating yourself up over certain things. To me, Detroit, you can appreciate their history. If you, and I know some people are sick of it, but look, if you ask any Detroit fan, a lot of them were alive during a specific time. So, a lot of you were differing. A lot of youngins probably remember around 2008. People mid to late 20s, early 30s probably remember the 90s and 2002. People probably remembered back when they were kind of a joke, and there might be some older people who remembered the 50s. So, what I'm getting at is when you do what I did, you learn to appreciate the history. The Stanley Cup runs they had in the 50s, the dominance of the Empire during the 90s and 2000s. The fact that they made the playoffs for 25 consecutive seasons. That is amazing. And it's something that, now, you can say their success in those playoffs may have been kind of sort of questionable, and certain times they looked kind of sort of washed up, like they shouldn't have been there. And I think one year they were even an 8th seed, so, take that for what you will. For me personally, Detroit is a team that it's two separate meals. Alright, so this is a weird analogy, but say you have a delicious, nice lunch. You go out to eat, it's a nice place, it's a nice lunch, you're with friends, you're with family, it's a great time, you're partying, you feel good, you drank, but not a lot, you're feeling decent, you're feeling happy, everything's all good. Then you have dinner, which is their current here and now, and it's just ramen noodles on a plate. No broth, it's just plain ramen noodles on a plate. That was their 2019-20 season. Now, a lot of people were upset. Some people were, I know. Some people were even saying, oh, well, that's it. And some people were like, yep, Detroit just sucks. This is run of the mill. This is what happens. Detroit sucks. Not me. I viewed it as whatever, right? Detroit, to me, didn't suck. It was a matter of what was happening. Some people probably thought when Stevie Boy took over that Detroit was just going to completely turn around. Here comes boy of the past, but he has Tampa. He was with Tampa, and he built Tampa to be contenders, so he'll do the same thing with Detroit. And that galvanizing effort the team had that was fighting towards the end of the 2018-19 season, for the 2019-20 season, they were going to spike on up. But when Steve Yzerman stepped in, he looked at it and realized this team has issues. Cap issues. Players are older. There were a lot of issues Detroit had. So he said, don't expect anything. It will take a few years. And towards the beginning when they weren't playing so hot, even I was like, why did they still have Jeff Blashaw? Why haven't they made any sort of moves? And I think what he was doing was he was just letting it play out. For better or for worse. Because he wanted to see exactly what the team needed so he can rebuild for the right pieces. And then he did so. He added Robbie Fabry. And upcoming, he added the bits and pieces that he thought were needed. Thomas Greiss. He bought out Justin Applicator's contract. He added Mark Stahl. So, he added some pieces. And this year, he's not promising anything. But he's letting it play out. And I think that's good. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I know some people are kind of going to be like, you're wearing their worst jersey. Whatever, I like it. Thank you everybody so much for watching. See you next time.